Have you ever wondered what your company's AI tools actually know about you? Here's the truth. They are actually learning from you. It's not just your words, it's your tone, it's your writing style, it's how productive are you during the day. All of your effort, all of the stuff that you're doing, it's shaping how these tools understand you, it's how your company sees you, and potentially how decisions are getting made about you. Now, before you panic, let me clear something up. I don't think that AI tools are evil. Corporate AI systems are designed to learn. They are designed to grow and develop, but the problem is they're using your behaviors, your tonality, your personality as the training data that helps them learn, that helps them grow, that helps them become more useful to the organization. And unfortunately, the line between helpful automation and quiet observation are becoming really thin. Okay, so let me actually pull up a few examples of specific tools that you might be using that are collecting your information, and let's talk about what kind of information they're collecting. So first are things like Microsoft Copilot. So Microsoft Copilot was built into 365 as kind of a cool way. So like it was similar to like Apple Intelligence or Google Gemini when both of those launched as more of like a system-wide AI. So Microsoft Copilot you can use with Excel, with PowerPoint, with Outlook, with Teams. It's all across the suite. But to be able to do that across everything, it has to have access to everything that you are using. The upside is it's incredibly helpful. The downside is it is a complete insight to how you're working and what you're doing. And depending on how your company has set up the privacy settings, IT can actually technically look at how you're using these AI tools across your team. It's not necessarily looking at every specific word that you're saying, but it gives IT an insight into how the tool is being used. Now, the other question is a lot of IT teams don't actually have the time to look at this kind of stuff, but it is being tracked. And it means that Copilot isn't just learning from you, it's actually creating an insight into the patterns of how you're working. Let's take Slack as another example. So Slack recently rolled out AI that gives you summaries of channels or summaries of conversations, which means that it can go through, it can scrub what everyone has said as long as they're participating or not participating because it keeps track of who is engaging and who's not. It can analyze every single message that was posted, who has posted, what they're posted, and how their tone has changed over time, which is a real thing. So right now, this is machine readable only, but over time, the metadata has evolved to the point where you can see who's engaging and also who has become disengaged over time. And so it's really not that far off from the future for people to say, oh, this person has become disengaged and give them a report to their managers. We're not there yet, but the data is there. The metadata is being tracked so that companies are able to see if employees are disengaged. And it's only a matter of time before that feature becomes an upsell that Slack can sell to businesses. Let's talk about Zoom. So Zoom IQ will keep track of meeting notes, will keep track of what was said, who was saying it, and the sentiment of the meeting. Whether you are manually recording it or not, that information is being recorded. So it's originally set up to be better for managers to keep track of team projects or to help better manage, but it's also a double-edged sword because it means that it can track sentiment if somebody is really unhappy at the company or if something's going on that they might not be telling their managers, but their manager might be able to see a trend report over time. Again, none of this means that Zoom is out to get you. It just means that a lot more of this information is becoming transparently available through the AI systems. Okay, so I'm not going to continue fear mongering, but it's a lot of these tools are built to collect information about you. But the problem is that privacy isn't really necessarily something that they're super interested in. The companies that our businesses work with are trying to figure out how to add more value to the company so that the company will continue to use that tool. So let's talk about what are the steps that we can actually take as people who are using these AI tools as part of our company to make sure that our digital footprint isn't being monetized or used in a really negative way that might affect us negatively. The first thing you want to do is you want to review your company's AI policies, whether that's talking to IT or HR and saying, hey, can you please give me a copy of what our reporting is or what our privacy rights are? And in some instances, you do have an opt-out phrase that you are able to say, I don't want my data to be collected, and your IT team will be able to help you with that. The second thing that you want to do is make sure that you disconnect your personal and your private accounts. So sometimes, not always, but sometimes people will use an AI tool at home, or they'll have, let's say, access to PowerPoint on your work computer, and you might copy it over to your personal computer and just use the same logins. Make sure that you're disconnecting any of those cross paths, because whatever systems that you're using at work, the tools or the accounts that you have will still carry over to whatever other devices you're using. So you want to make sure that you separate your devices from personal and professional. The third thing that you want to do is be sensitive about your prompts and what you're inputting. A lot of these AI tools don't differentiate what is confidential and what is not. So when you type in, let's say something about give me insight into this merger, if it's something that's confidential, if it's something that's internal to your company, you want to make sure that you remove any specificity and talk about, let's say, the generalities of what's going on versus the specific names or specific people that are involved, because those models are trained on those inputs. And if you say, hey, can you give me insight on this confidential merger? It might show up on somebody else's export outside of your company. Number four is you want to turn off any data sharing when possible. So tools like Microsoft or Zoom have options where you can actually say, don't use my data to train these AI models. They're very hard to find in most cases. They're buried somewhere in the preferences, usually under the security systems or security settings. But you do have that option to turn off your data being collected in a lot of instances. And number five is to know your data footprint. It's not paranoia to think, okay, where is this information being used? Because whatever tools you're using collect all sorts of metadata. When you take control of your own digital footprint and you're aware of what's being shared and when, it becomes really, really powerful for you to become a digital first kind of employee without being fearful that your data or your metadata might be taken and used somewhere inappropriate. So all of this to say, I don't want you to feel scared of the future. I don't want you to feel like AI is going to be the worst thing that's ever happened to us, but it's really important for you before you get too far in this kind of AI world to know what information is being collected, what you are providing in this, and how your company is using that data. And if you're looking at your company and you're still not really sure what information they're tracking, check out this video that I made about what your company can monitor about you and signs that you are being monitored. And with that, I will see you on the next one.